皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So today guys, I'd like to share with you again something I've learned from a very famous Japanese YouTuber who almost has 5 million subscribers. He has a sub channel where he just continues to talk about whatever he wants to talk about, just like this podcast. I guess I started this podcast because I kind of admired him with his the way he makes his videos and such. But anyways, one of the things he was saying in his videos just really, what should I say, really inspired me a lot. And recently I've been feeling that a lot of videos and the topics that he talks about is literally talking about me. And to make a long story short, I don't want to keep you guys waiting, so to make a long story short, basically what he said was that if you make people think that you are a good person, if you make people think that you are a good person, for example, you try to act good, try to sound good, for example, you will actually benefit less from that. So you'll, what should I say? You would actually receive negative effects from that than positive effects. So basically, if you once try to act or produce yourself basically as a really good, positive person, even if you're like, what should I say? If you really are, that's a good thing, right? But if you try to hide some parts of yourself, or if you try to act into someone who you're not, eventually trying to act as a good person will be something negative because people always believe that you're that kind of person. And you will always have to act and lie to others that you're that kind of person, right? So in that video, and the influencer I'm talking about, he said that he actually has a few children, and in one of there's this magazine of raising children or something, and he talked about an episode that he did something for his kids, and it was a really, really good episode. It was a really touching episode, and afterwards that magazine got really popular, and a lot of other parents came up to him and told him that, oh, I really want to be a father like you, and I can't believe my husband isn't like a person like I wish you were my husband. But to be honest, that was like the best episode he ever had in his life, with his children. Yeah, so most of the time he is yelling at his kids, for example. There are times that he gets really frustrated, and everything doesn't always work that well, right? But because now that that magazine came out and people go up to tell him that, he now has to always live up to a good father, right? Even though he's not always a good father. And this is something, because as I always talk about with you guys, I'm the kind of person, definitely HSP, highly sensitive person, and also try to be as perfect as possible. As I always talk about, my tea ceremony sensei telling me that I'm really far away from the wabi-sabi and so on and so forth. Again, this trait, I completely understand myself. This trait definitely comes from me being raised by my father, who was running a company that was built by my grandfather, and he basically raised me to be the perfect next president, after him. And of course I rejected that, and through all the battles with my father, I left him, and I'm finally free and everything. But I guess, being constantly told that you're not worthy enough of the next president, you're not worthy enough of being the next Yamaguchi, son or whatever. I guess this has been basically haunted me forever. And I talked about, curses that your parents can give you on a previous podcast too, but this is definitely one of the curses that I'm still struggling to get rid of. But, having someone as famous as him, as someone who's really good at talking, explaining things as him, explaining to me once again, that trying to be a good person is actually something bad if you're trying to act as someone who you're not. I mean, doesn't this really make you feel a lot better? I mean, I feel that a lot of people try to act good, try to be someone who you're not, for example. Because you believe that you'd be liked more, or you'd be loved more, or you'd be, needed more by someone if you try to be act as a better person, or a good person. And your will to try to help someone or try to advance yourself, your skills and such, and always be constantly focused on the things you love, that's a good thing. But acting as if you're as someone, as what should I say, as a good person that you're not, is definitely nothing good, you know. And I really, listening to his stories, it kind of, what should I say, pierced me, you know, this story, because I guess I'm the kind of person that tends to be that, you know. And in his it was a podcast sub channel, he was talking about whenever he receives like a gift, you know, or something like that, he tends to throw it away immediately because he's a minimalist. Did you say that in English too? He really hates holding on to a lot of things because he's a really busy person. You know, like a lot of what should I say, billionaires too don't have that many things, right? You know, like I don't know, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or these kind of people really possess very few amount of things because they need to be thinking, you know, they need to be creative. And when you own too many things, you know, you tend to lose creativity. And I think this is scientifically proven too. So he really tries to, because he needs to concentrate in making his videos, writing a script or whatever, studying, you know, and stuff. He wants to have as less things inside his room as possible. And I really do understand that, but it's really hard, you know, raising kids and such. But anyways, so he immediately, basically, he receives the gifts and he says thank you, and he goes home and he throws it away, you know? And he says that in public, basically. So this is to say that he is not a perfect person either. And even after you state that you're not a perfect person, people will still support you. Even if you're not, like, for example, an influencer, like your friends and family. Like, are your friends and family perfect? Is that the reason why you love them? The answer is no, right? Yeah. So it's much, much better, and you'll definitely be loved more if you are yourself. Because no one is perfect. And when you actually are close to a person who you believe is really perfect, you know, that seems perfect, which is impossible because no one is, but that actually makes you a little bit, it might give other people negative feelings. The other people might think, well, I'm not as perfect as this person. Or in the other case I just introduced as an example, the person might say, well, my husband is not as a good father as you, kind of thing. So basically, you trying to be or act as a really good, perfect person actually sends out negativity around you, even if you're really good at acting. And if you really are capable of presenting yourself as a really good person, that doesn't produce any good. It's basically a myth, fantasy that I've been believing in my whole life too. But being myself and being a real human being, you know, and showing all my flaws and everything, actually I think relaxes a lot of people around me too, you know. Because when you see someone that looks really perfect, you feel like you have to be that kind of person too. And this is what my tea master has been telling me, you know, through my training of 5 years now in tea ceremony. She's been constantly telling me that, Shogo, you are really far away from wabi-sabi. This is what she was telling me. And I'm really, really happy to tell you that I'm finally, at least in my head, I'm starting to understand this. Yeah. And I'm really, really happy about it. So, of course, now we got to this point. It's the point where I guess I want to talk about something that you might think I'm a little bit crazy. And you know what, guys? I really don't know. It's probably because it's myself. I really wish I could think of something that would make you think, whoa, Shogo, I didn't think you were that kind of person. But I'm really struggling. Before I was recording this podcast, I was talking with Harumi, and I was asking her about what do you think are some of the crazy points about me, and she was like, crazy? Well, I guess you might be dancing suddenly in the room to make our kids laugh, maybe a very silly dance that you would never show in public. I guess you might say some jokes that you might not say in public, you know, to make me laugh, but I guess that's about it, you know. So you know what? I'm going to be trying to not hide, especially at least in this podcast, you know. I'm not going to be hiding anything anymore. You know, recently I have been not hiding a lot of things anymore. I mean, like, some things that are really, really private or a secret to our future plans, I would only say in the channel membership in my main channel. But everything else, I'm starting to say recently, especially starting from the fight misunderstanding I had with Kazu and Tomoko. And starting from around there, I've started to be really honest with you guys. And that has really changed my life. The comments I received in that podcast where I said the true reason why I was feeling really tired recently, that those comments, because I was really honest, the comments that I received were really, really honest from the comments I received from you guys were really, what should I say, really wanting to help, because you guys probably thought that, oh, Shogo is really in trouble right now, But that was because I was honest. If I constantly acted as if, I am a really good leader and there's no problems happening in my team is like problemless. We are like the best in the world. We are the best in the world, but still there are a lot of problems. I am not a perfect leader. I always make my team members really sad or angry or frustrated, or even make them cry sometimes. And that's what humans are, right? That's who I am. That's what humans are. And I'm really satisfied, actually, that I was able to talk about these things and reveal my weaknesses to you guys, because that makes me capable of being able to see everyone else's weaknesses too, right? And that's when you can finally really communicate with someone, or really get to know someone, and really help them out, right? When you show your weaknesses, that's when people will show their weaknesses to you too, right? And a real leader, at least that's what I believe in, is a person who needs to stand by, help out people's weaknesses, care for each other, help out the things that we're not good at, stuff like that. And that's what I believe as a true leader is. So finally, by revealing who I really am, I think I'll be able to reach there. So maybe in the future podcasts, I'll try to talk about the things that I'm a little bit crazy. I guess one of the things that would come to my mind immediately would be that I basically am working 24/7 almost, from 7 a.m. that I wake up to about 1 or 12 a.m. in midnight, or 1 a.m. I sleep. Basically, I'm always working, literally. When I'm doing the chores, for example, I'm always listening to history classes on podcasts, or stuff like that, Japanese in Japanese, or whenever, for example, when I do some daily workouts, by the way, but when I'm working out, I'm always listening to those kind of studying programs too. And when I wake up to do the house chores, by the way, in the morning, I'm listening to TED Talks to try to improve my English. I guess I'm very crazy. People probably call me a workaholic, right? That's probably the word that would represent me, but I am definitely that. I have no clue why I'm this kind of person, but it's, as I always say, I guess it's really close to me playing video games in the past as a boy. When you're playing video games, you want to play forever, right? You want to waste 1 minute of playing that game. You want to get to the next level. You want to get that new weapon. You want to get to that new skill, open up that new area in the land or whatever. My life, I personally feel it that way. Like, wasting this 10-second I have here. Like, I could have gotten that new item, I could have gotten that new equipment, that kind of stuff. I really feel my life is like that. So some people, when they see me, they might think like, whoa, Shogo, like, slow down, man. I mean, you don't have to rush so much. Like, are you afraid of something, or you're trying to run away from something? No, I'm sincerely from the deepest part of my heart, I'm enjoying every single moment of my life, even when I say I'm struggling. Every video game that exists in this world needs some kind of challenge, right? So whenever I actually face a challenge, I do feel sick. I do feel mentally ill sometimes, of course, but deep down, there's a part of my heart that's enjoying everything. Yeah, I guess this might be one of the craziest things I can say about myself. Yeah, but this is me. This is seriously me. So, for now on in my podcast, if I ever think of something else that I think I'm crazy about, I guess I'll love to share with you guys. And yeah, I don't know how this podcast could be useful for anyone, but I guess I'm gonna be quitting thinking about that too. Yeah, and especially this sub channel. The main channel, I do want to make it as educational as possible and such, but this podcast channel, I just wanted to be talking about everything just comes to my mind. Yeah, and sometimes, hopefully, I'll be talking about something that'll be useful for you too. So then, everyone, as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. So I know that there's a lot of people studying Japanese willing to come to Japan to study, travel, work, or even train in social culture and such. However, I'm very afraid that Japan will not be able to make everyone's dreams come true in the future, because we're facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and the younger generations who are supposed to be carrying on the good things about Japan are dying because of all the social issues being shoved against them. So I want to dedicate my life to try to make Japan a better place. I want to try to preserve traditional culture, preserve, evolve traditional culture, solve the social problems, and also help out the younger generations so they can have a brighter future. And to do that, the newest goal I have right now is to achieve 2 million subscribers by January 2023 on my main channel. So your likes and comments will help to boost my videos. New viewers have never seen my channel before. It'd be great if you can help me out. Thank you so much, guys. And again, as I always say, this dream, I'm not trying to be a good person when I talk about this dream. This is my real dream that I actually have. So I really hope you can help me out today as well. From now on as well, it'd be great if you can support me. And again, I'm not a very strong person, to be honest. And your comments, your likes, your views are really giving me a lot of power. So it'd be great if you can continue to support me, guys. Thank you so much for always helping me out. All right, I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much. I gotta take Hinata to kindergarten, so goodbye.